Hey, part four of our series on the cube, folding that up. Here I have my template cut out. I have most of my design laid out. I'm just kind of working with some arches and some curvilinear. I'm just going to be doing some coloring in here once I get it all drawn. Or really, in the room, we'll be painting these. At home, if you don't have access to paint, we can just use colored pencils or graphite and just do kind of black and gray graphite. Or color them in if we have colored pencils or paint available to us. Um, One thing I did want to talk about was with the design here. I do want to do the design while it's still flat in the template, um, so that way I can kind of check my edges where things line up. Excuse me. What I'm really hoping for with these is that we kind of focus on the corners of the cube as we're doing our design, so things kind of line up and wrap around all the edges. So doing that instead of kind of centering up things, like so instead of drawing, let's say, a smiley face right in the middle here. Instead of doing that, what I want to do is kind of draw it across multiple edges of the cube. So one reason, want to do my designs while I still have this kind of unfolded is so I can kind of test it and draw and see if things line up. Because if I try and draw on this one, it's a cube, especially with this lightweight paper I'm using in my example here, it's not going to hold up very well. So we mostly want all our designs and coloration done before we glue it together. So I'm kind of lining this up edge to edge so I can see. So that way when I draw my smiley face, it kind of lines up from one side to the next in that example. But when you look at that unfolded, of course, things don't line up. I did not spend much time in my design on my example here. Really would like to see a little more time spent on the drawing than what I put into this one. I just wanted to have something here to do as a visual aid. So I'm getting ready to glue. Could use glue sticks, could use white Elmer's glue. I'm going to try and use this rubber cement. I think works the best and is the easiest. Most of us don't really use rubber cement correctly when we're applying it. The best way to use this is to apply it to the edge that we want it. Let it dry before attaching. And that way you'll get a really strong, secure hold that doesn't move. Another tip here is I'm gluing all my tabs. Got a little piece of paper behind me so I'm not getting glue all over my table. So rubber cement goes on the front side of all the little flaps we cut into this. Like that there. We should also put rubber cement in the inside. I'm going to switch to a different piece of paper so again I'm not getting glue all over things. Also put rubber cement on that inside edge that we have where the flaps meet. So then I'll rubber cement kind of all the edges that will get glued to, which would just be any of those edges that kind of touch on the middle. Also a little bit on that back side where the final flap kind of closes. So get all my edges glued up. What I should do here is wait about 5 minutes. I'm not going to do that for time in the video, but if I wait about 5 minutes, that rubber cement will no longer be glossy. It'll kind of dry on the surface, and then when it sticks together, boy, it really holds. So from here, once my designing was finished, I'd be ready to glue. I'm kind of just skipping on my final drawing steps here and going ahead and trying to glue this up as best I can. Another advantage of letting that rubber cement dry a bit first is it doesn't get all over your hands and when you go to glue it up like it's kind of doing for me right now. So you can kind of fold all those edges in. Now you can see why we cut the corners off on all those tabs so they fold together really nice. And then we should kind of eventually get to closing in our box. Something like that. Trying to get that glued up and keep all my planes nice and straight. That last flap sometimes is a little tricky to get sealed up well. What we'll probably do is make that one the bottom of our design. Let's take a look at my poorly drawn smiley face here. Now does line up with the edges. So that's the idea. Let me know if you have questions.